Good evening. Thank you for tuning in for the late edition of the London Indie Underground. My name is Jimmy James, broadcasting you live from the Vault Recording Studio. Special broadcast today as it's come to you via iPhone. We're currently waiting for our internet connection, with Rogers, to be back up and running. So we thought we'd do a little test, and lo and behold, it works through the iPhone. So bear with us if our connection drops or anything of that effect. We'll try to get back to you as quickly as possible, and we do apologize once again for the delay. However, it seems to be a widespread thing. Joined as always, with my good buddy Gary. Gary, we missed you last week.
Yeah, thanks, Jim.
And were you away the week before, or was it just last week?
Week before was Christmas, I think.
Right, and we were together.
Yeah, we were together the week before that, because it was your birthday week.
The week before
then we took Christmas off, and then I bailed on you and went to Vegas.
Yes, you bastard.
Yep, and now I'm back.
Well, we were freezing. Well, we weren't really freezing because it hasn't really been that bad.
No.
And it's funny because I saw your posts about Vegas, and you were very old manish down there.
Yes. Yep. 2 cardigans and 2 bottles of vodka. Hardly any gambling. Lots of food.
That's a party, buddy.
Fuck, tell me about it. Like, seriously. But again, that just it's a nice segue for us here. Why is booze so fucking expensive in Canada? Like, you drive over the border. I bought 2 bottles. I bought Smirnoff because when I was younger, it was Smirnoff or Absolute from Alcoholic Ways. So I bought a nice thing of Smirnoff for myself, 26er, and I bought a 26er of Grey Goose. And then we bought a couple of bottles of wine.
Did you drink it in the street?
No, I brought it home with me because fuck, why not? But the funny part is it didn't cost me that much money. For the bottle of Grey Goose alone, up here, for me to buy it in the liquor store here, I bought everything down in the States.
That's ridiculous.
That's stupid. Like government taxes on everything.
Right.
It just kills me to think that they're just making wads of cash off of everything, yet they our government complains of being broke all the time. And
well, the same can be said for a lot of products. Like
yeah.
You probably saw my one post. I was in the market for a new China symbol.
Yeah.
And just for kicks, I pulled up Amazon and started, browsing what they had available online.
Yep.
And delivered to my door, including duty, which is like $20 across the border. It was under $100.
Yeah. He said duty.
So under $100 for an 18-inch Wuhan China.
Yep.
And they sound amazing. And I couldn't believe how cheap it was. Like, and I understand they're available here in Canada, but they're more money. Like, nowadays, if you're going to shop, make sure you check online. And I think it comes down to that instant gratification. People want it now.
In their hands.
I want it in my hand right now. I want to go and pick it up, and I want to get it now. But, if you've got a little patience, and I'll tell you, I ordered it. When did I order it? I don't even remember when the post was. But I think in business days, it was at my house in 4 business days.
Yeah, at the busiest time of the season.
Right.
As I was saying, we were discussing the shoe thing.
Right.
It's like I bought like 4 pairs of kicks before Christmas. And I've got every single one of them. And I bought them. I had to buy and it's a weird thing. You know what? Certain shoe companies, skate shoe companies and stuff, they don't have them in Canada. So me being a bit of an old school, old man, nerd kind of dude.
You're so old.
Vision Streetwear reissued their old 1990s, 80s Vision Streetwear skateboarding shoes. And I've been wearing the same black pair probably for about 10 years. I just refuse to get rid of them. No sole left on them. It's pretty much just like ice skating in this kind of weather, but I wear them everywhere. All my travels, I wear them. They're the most comfortable shoes I have, and they reissue them. So I bought 4 fucking pairs. Different colors, just because that's how I roll. But I bought 4 because I know I'm not going to be able to get them again, but it was cheaper for me to get them from the U.S. I didn't pay brokerage on anything. I didn't, I don't get it. I wish Canadian companies would see it. But as a Canadian business guy as well, it also affects me because as a business guy, because I know I've had people tell me, oh, I can order T-shirts from this company in the States and it wouldn't cost me that much. And it's like, yeah, but once those T-shirts hit the border, you're going to be paying taxes and brokerage on them. And you're going to be paying through the nose. And then my suppliers, they have to bring in all this stuff and they pay it and it comes out on their prices. So I have to buy them at their prices. And I don't even mark up my stuff that much. And I'm still being told I can get them cheaper here. And I'm always like, well, unfortunately, you probably can. Sorry. I'm not doing the work for free. But it's the same thing, though. Yeah, no, it's product. We all want the cheapest and the same thing. So you can't look down on it because I do it myself.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. But I do like having it in my hands directly, though.
Yes, me too.
There is that.
She said.
Yeah, there is. Some days. There is that stress out, though, right? When you order something online from the States, that is it going to come? Is it going to get fucked up in transit? Is it going to get broken? Is it going to get held at the border? Like I've had some issues, and we had that. You had that one issue before with one of the, I think it was the controller for the studio. Remember you ordered that one and it took forever.
Right.
It's same, and that's kind of that thing, right? Like
Yeah.
if you're going to be shopping from across the border, you don't want to be like, I need this by Thursday.
Right.
Or I need this in 2 weeks. I need it. It's like it's not going to happen.
Well, most places will have the option of expedited shipping.
Yeah, true.
But you tend to pay a lot more for that.
Well, and not just that, the expedited shipping, it's still, and this is something I've just learned through my years of the collecting of stuff. You can pay for expedited shipping, but once it hits the border, and it gets to customs, expedited means nothing. It goes in the same line. It doesn't hurry up. The only thing that's expedited is from them to the border is expedited. Then the border guards, like the border itself, will take as much time as they need to go through everything.
Well, they have no control over that, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've had packages get caught up at customs there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember which one it was, but yeah, I was kind of freaking out. I'm like, I just need this. Just send it to me, please. You've had it for a week now. How long does it take to clear?
I think it was when you first opened the second, this room, the control room, and that's when it was done.
Yeah, I think it might have been the central station.
Yeah, it was Central Station. That's exactly what it was. Yeah. I was trying to think. It was
Gear Talk.
Sorry,
Studio
people.
Gear Talk.
Sorry, people. I've had the same thing. I bought a guitar, and I was I was going to play.
One of 29.
Yeah. I was playing a show, one of the shows in Oshawa, and I bought a new acoustic, and I was getting really freaked out because the thing just wasn't here. And I ended up having to use my other one. And just, it's not the same. Like when you're all stoked, like when you find that big body jumbo acoustic that you're hoping to play because you love the sound of them live,
right?
And it doesn't show up, so you have to use your other guitar, you're just disappointed. And then it sucks even more when the jumbo big body arrives and you play it and you're like, fuck, I hate this thing. Why did I buy this? And that's the only downfall about mine.
Did you play an emo set that night?
I think pretty much all my shit is emo. I can, I'm the guy that writes songs about killing, but it makes it sound like a love song. So, yeah.
So joining us today.
Yep, sorry, man.
Sitting in on the couch here. We've been trying to cut to him here. Mr. Carter Zinn.
What's up?
From Surrounded by Water. How are you?
Good to be back. Always fun times here.
Yeah, well, Carter, you sat in on our very first broadcast.
That's right.
And we come a long way. I think 15 weeks now.
Wow.
Worth of podcasting. A lot of music and a lot of talk about nothing.
True. And I'm wearing a fancy scarf, so really we've upped the game.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, last week was the first time that we did a video podcast. Although we have the capability here, and obviously we do our monthly video podcasts that are hosted by Sarah Burke from FM 96. The weekly indie streams have traditionally up until this point been audio based exclusively, but we do have the cameras set up, and tonight we do have a special acoustic performance that's going to be coming up. We'll get to talking about that a little bit later, but you'll have to bear with us unless of course the internet connection decides to miraculously fix itself. This will have to be an audio podcast tonight, so you won't be able to get to see this gentleman's lovely mug, but you'll be able to hear him in all
Capitals
splendor.
too, so we don't need to see that though.
They're off to purchase some fine beverages, and soon we will find out who's sponsoring today's podcast. There they are right now.
Doors opening, so I think today's podcast is sponsored by.
I'm going to guess Lowenbrow and Beck's.
Yeah, well, I can't tell. It's in a black bag that says the beer store, so let's just say the beer store.
It's sponsored by the beer store.
Yep.
So we got a lot of stuff to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a lot of news, and many of the listeners will know that I'm an avid sports fan, but we're not going to get into that quite yet because I think we do need to get to some music.
Yeah, 'cause people do listen to this for the music and not our sports analysis.
And then we'll have to get to talking to you, Carter, because I'm sure you'll have some valuable wisdom that you can impart to some of our listeners.
I'll see what I can do. See what I can pull out here.
All right. So we're going to get the lead-off track, the same track that we spun last week, which is a band called Red Amber Green. They had been working on a new selection that was recently finished up and debuted here on our podcast. And right now, I believe they've got it posted up online. If you check them out, you can go to their Facebook page, Red Amber Green. Although we'll have to clarify that because I know there's another Red Amber Green.
They're okay. So I'll tell you this much, guys. We got to get something to separate you from the 12 other Red Amber Greens out there. Because I saw Michael, I think it was Mike or Phil had a posting. Follow the link, right? Mm-hmm. So I click on it, and the picture of the band is cropped, right? So you only see 3 of the guys and not the 5. But anyway, so I was like, oh, okay, cool. So anyways, I went to do a Google search just to go to the website, and because it took me to their Bandcamp page. But as soon as you hit it, red, amber, green, red space, amber, space, green, you get like everything. There's like probably like good 5 bands called Red, Amber, Green. No offense, guys. It's an awesome name. But I was just like, wow, this is really hard to find it because there's like so many different groups and so many different postings with Red, Amber, Green on it.
Right.
But
Well,
it's a band that needs attention. Like these guys,
it's true.
they're worth your attention to hear them. So my comment is more just, you got to get something that stands out so it's not hard for people to find you.
You've got an internet connection there through your phone, G?
Not yet. I did, but then I turned it off.
Okay.
So
You might want to, if you could, maybe you can connect it up and bang that onto the Facebook page just so people can see. So we're going to spin this track again. This is a brand new song by Red, Amber, Green. This is Cobwebs and Cardigans on the London Indie Underground. red, amber, green, cobwebs and cardigans here on the London Indie Underground. So thanks for tuning in once again. We apologize we're a bit late. This podcast is brought to you by Lowenbrow and by the iPhone. Thank you, iPhone. Don't have an internet connection?
iPhone.
So we're joined by a couple of late guests that we're going to see our sponsors. So I've got on my right here, I've got Mr. Moss Beckman.
Hello, Jimmy.
Hello. So Moss is a part of Surrounded by Water, who will be doing our last show this coming Friday at Norma Jean's, opening up for our Tool tribute band Undertow. We'll get to some of the details on that a little bit later. And then also joining us on the couch here is our friend and yours, Mr. Keith, a.k.a. Bubs Kendall.
Baba.
Bubba,
Hello, hello.
how are you, brother?
We're all British
Good.
for some reason tonight.
Yeah.
So, some of you that are friends with me on Facebook, may be familiar with the works of Bubs Kendall. I like to call him the Wall Pirate because he posts up some pretty hilarious stuff. But, I've been friends with you guys for a number of years, and, I met you a couple of years back, and I'm pretty excited to have you here on the podcast. Thanks for sitting in with us.
I'm excited to be here.
You're not nervous, are you?
No.
Are you sure?
I'm just nervous because my beer's too far away from me right now.
He wants to get back to wall plundering. Let me out of here.
That's what he does best. All right, so there's a couple of things that I need to address before we get into our first topic of the evening. So first and foremost, I've had a number of people that have messaged me and asking me if I am hosting events at Call the Office. So I want to be clear on a couple of things. First off, there is another Indie Underground in London. Now, I am the London Indie Underground. However, there is an Indie Underground. So I'll explain the differences because philosophically we're different. So Indie Underground is run by a gentleman by the name of Aaron McMillan. And, or no, not Aaron. Is it Aaron McMillan? No, it's not Aaron McMillan. Anyway, there's a gentleman, I think his name is Aaron. And he does live events at Call the Office. And it's DJ events where they showcase electronica, some indie stuff. But it's live-based DJ events that are happening at Call the Office every Wednesday. Whereas here at London Indie Underground, we're London's only independent music podcast, and we showcase bands from in and around the London area. So philosophically, we're different, but I believe in the end, we're both looking to do the same thing, which is to support the music scene here. And, not that it really matters, I suppose, but London Indie Underground, we were the first ones to market. We had our first inaugural event before they did. And we've really, kind of been doing our thing a little bit longer. And our listeners have really embraced us, and we couldn't be more appreciative. That said, regardless of who came first, I think our goal is the same, and there's plenty of room. But I just want to make sure that there's no confusion because, like I said, I've had people message me and say, hey, I saw your sign on Call the Office. Are you, are you running an event? And I'm like, well, no, there's a difference. So, and some people have thanked me for clarifying that. But, obviously no ill will. Like I said, it's a big sea out there. There's plenty of room for all of us. Mm-hmm. So that said,
Call the orifice.
we want to talk some hockey, and we got to talk some hockey. It was a big day in the news today.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm sure many of our listeners that are hockey fans, no doubt. If you're a Twitter follower, you probably saw all kinds of stuff. I know Twitter blew up there early this afternoon. So Mr. Brian Burke, Mr. Truculence himself, has been relieved of his duties as the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
4 years. I couldn't believe that he was there for 4 years. It really didn't seem like it was that long.
It wasn't. They're saying 4, but it was really like 3.
But
like,
you're keeping him,
Like because he started halfway through the season, and basically he was given a shit team halfway through the season. Only really had the 2 years to work on it. This is a wash of a season already, so there's your other half, and then they let him go.
Yeah.
The downfall of this, like for anybody else, and it's the same thing that happened in Vancouver, is my boy Nonis. Like Davey walked, like when they fired Berkey in Vancouver, Nonis had to step in. And they gave him 2 years, and then Vancouver let him go and hired Gillis. Well, now it's the same thing. Burke's been let go, and Nonis has been given the job, and it's basically he only has it's a half a season, and you've got the two conglomerates running the ship now. It's like he's going to get pushed every which way.
Mutiny.
Yeah, it's not going to be a good year for the Leafs, I don't think.
I was trying to understand the motivation with the timing. Because it is pretty bizarre when you think about it. I mean, this is something that despite the lockout during the the fall or the first couple of months of the season, teams are still allowed to operate. They just don't communicate with players
Right.
and run hockey operations, but they still internal.
Yeah, so
they
why
still
now?
operate.
Why now?
Yeah, and if you watch because I did watch the press conference, and what I gather is they just didn't like him. Like they didn't like his approach. I think with the way that he handled the media. Because he's a very gruff guy, right? But that said, I mean, the players loved him. They loved playing for him, and they really loved, like, at Christmas time, he imposed his own deadline. So, players weren't worried about being traded during the deadline. But having said that, philosophically, I think he wasn't on the same page as the rest of the leadership or the ownership group, rather.
Right.
But to your point, I mean, Nonis now is in an unenviable position, in my opinion, because here's a guy who's loyal to Brian Burke. He's the one that brought him basically everywhere that he's been and has followed in his footsteps, right? And unquestionably, he's a skilled GM who has a proven track record. But now he's in the middle of two media conglomerates that are pining for ratings and money.
That's all they're after. And I was watching, before I came out today, I was watching the infamous Sportsnet and all that and hearing a lot of the discussions there. And it was very interesting to hear their take on it. And it was the same thing with why today he was let go. And they were saying that when you go through the new CBA, there are 3 pieces in there, like major pieces that they say are Brian Burke's hands.
Yeah.
Like that's his thing. So they couldn't ditch him prior to that because then he has no say in pushing it through. And not only is he a great GM, but he was also a very, very, very good lawyer.
Right.
So he knows what he's doing. So if they got rid of him prior, then they didn't have his insight on pushing that through. They'd have to basically leave it to Nonis, who doesn't have the same insight to that kind of situation. Nothing against Nonis. Like he's a smart hockey guy
He's a
himself.
boy.
I think all said and done, Brian Burke came in and did what had to be done to the Leafs. They had to be fucking. Oh, sorry.
No, you can swear.
You can swear all you want.
Fuck yeah! Fuck man! Fuck this! No, they had to be broken up and fucking, it's entitlement. That had to be changed because that's all they were about before.
Well, certainly. I mean, it was a big changing of the guard. If you look back at, John Ferguson's legacy, I mean, he had what they called the Muskoka Five, right? Where he handed out those 5 contracts with no trade clauses to keep the core intact. And, maybe he was worried that, people or players rather were afraid to come to Toronto because, I mean, you're in the fishbowl, you're under the microscope, and there's a lot of pressure there, right? But the one thing I appreciated about Brian Burke is he really embraced that. He wanted to be there, right? He always referred to Toronto as being the Vatican of hockey. And, it's a shame that in his tenure, he didn't at least make the playoffs. The farm team is amazing. They're first in the conference right now. So, and the great thing about Burke too is he always credits John Ferguson for some of the picks that he made in the contributors to the Marlies, but his fingerprints are all over that.
But I can say this just being a diehard Canucks fan, like the pair of them, Burke and Nonis, built up the Canucks to what they are now, and it was all based on the exact same blueprint they did with the Marlies. They built up the Manitoba Moose, and the Moose had like a fantastic team, and that's where they drew. So Kessler, Burroughs, Schneider, like all of these guys came out. Yannick Hansen, Alex Edler, all these guys were brought up. They didn't trade to get these big fucking names like Toronto's known for. It's like, well, let's fucking get rid of the youth and bring in one guy who's supposed to be our savior. Yeah. Like we were chuckling about it last night, a buddy of mine, about the big fucking Dougie Gilmour return. You remember that one? Fuck everybody was running out and buying Doug Gilmour jerseys only to watch him take his first shift.
Yeah.
Whatever happened, fucking broke his ankle, done.
No, his knee, yeah.
Yeah, done.
Yeah, and then he wouldn't let anybody help him. He crawled back to the bench.
Yeah, it's like...
I almost cried.
Yeah. As a Leafs fan, you'd be like, are you fucking kidding me? But as a hockey guy, you're like, let somebody get you off the fucking ice. You're wasting this, But, it's like the same thing. And that's what Burke did. He built up the Marlies to have a fantastic team. Finally got goaltending down there to do what he did like with Schneider. and all that stuff to basically build and get somebody with the confidence to build up a team around him. And then when they start bringing, his plan would have been to bring these young guys up, playing in that system, bring them up, have the goaltender who's confident with this team in front of them, and a team that's confident in their goaltender. But they were talking about it today. Part of the big thing today is the fact that Burke was not willing to give up the youth of the team to bring in Luongo. He wasn't willing to pay Gillis that price. Whereas the heads of the Rogers and Bell guys that are basically trying to do the Richard Petty job of the team were saying, no, get them. Like, give them whatever they want.
See,
we want that goalie.
I genuinely hope that that's not the case.
No.
That's what they were
Because
talking about.
you would want to
Luongo,
believe
man.
that the GM would have the autonomy to be able to make those decisions and not be a puppet.
Totally, but that was what they were talking about today on Sportsnet. Like before I came out, they were saying part of his whole thing and with Burke, and this is why it would have rubbed him wrong, is he has a thing. His outlook on hockey as a general manager is you have two hands on the wheel. As soon as you notice there's a third hand on the wheel, get out, because it's no longer your team. You're not in control. And that's like the big issue with the Richard Petty years with the Leafs, right? As the ownership for the teachers union, he basically was pushing Ferguson wherever they wanted him to go. It wasn't about winning; it was about making money all the time for the pension, right? So they never iced a great team. Any moves they had to go through them; they could veto them, and that's what I think was happening here. You had a guy from Rogers, a guy from Bell, trying to all of a sudden take over the job, and they had already said today that when Burke came in, it was great because you now had a face to the team to take all the pressure off the players, because he was glad to take it. But now they don't want that. They don't want that as the face. They want the players.
They want the players, yeah.
And it's like, so I don't think it's a good move, but at the same time, well,
I don't think any players wanted to play for Burke. That's why he couldn't bring anybody there. Like the whole Nash deal. Who else was up? Like in the last 2
Richards.
years, Richards.
yeah.
Who
But,
both went to New York for some fucking reason.
but Richards was close. Richards was close to coming,
Yeah.
and actually so was Nash. But the problem is
And Mikey Richards.
yeah, New York is willing to just throw all the money. Like, look at Wade Redden. Picked up from Ottawa, played 2 years, and then thrown down to the fucking Hartford Wolfpack. Same
Sucks.
same value.
Yeah.
Like they're paying
His
the same.
ass was reddened.
Yeah, but it was the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's a messed up situation. I don't think it's going to help the Leafs at all. I have a feeling that Nonis is going to be pushed into trading the youth. I hear the name of Kadri and Gardner are being thrown around
For Luongo?
for Luongo.
Oh.
No one wants
I heard-
Luongo.
I
Except
I
for
would
Toronto.
not do
He was
Gardner.
horrible last year.
Yeah.
And the year before last year.
one bad year. He wasn't that bad the year before, man. They went to the
Yeah,
Stanley
you're
Cup
right. It
final,
was
right?
just
I
the
mean, he
last
was
one.
one game away, and what are they chucked him under the bus. If you look at his career stats since he's in Vancouver, he's the winningest goaltender
Yep.
that he's been there. His record, he has like a 9.12 save percentage with a 2.5 goals against.
Yep.
I mean, his numbers are impressive. As a fantasy player, he's always one of the best goalies out there, right?
Yeah.
So
he was just the
the fans will turn on you quickly if you're not winning.
yeah.
But it's also his playoff record is what's abysmal. Like,
Well, I mean, he never made the playoffs when he was in.
And
When
you got
Florida,
the twins as your forwards, like they're weak, so they can score.
They're not going to fight for you.
Yeah.
well, no, but that's just
They'll
it
take
though.
a punch in the face for you.
Yeah, but that's
Like
just
some in
it.
the face for
They
you.
want to smoke in a pancake.
Yeah, I will always defend the sisters because the fact is that any team in the NHL would pay to have them. The only thing that the Twins need is a dude like somebody that could basically play like a Bertuzzi.
Yeah.
If somebody basically hits them, that you're going to get a drive into the, you're going to get destroyed by another player,
You're
and they've
punching
always
this
needed that.
vertebrae.
It's
Yeah.
the old joke, right? 2 girls, no cup.
Yep, exactly. But at the same time, with Gretzky never.
He had a Semenko though.
Exactly, and that's what the Twins needed, right? The Twins need a goon to basically be out there to take care of them.
You figure Luongo had a lot of stress on him last year because Schneider started playing awesome.
Yep.
And that just plays with his brain. That's
But
all goalies are, just brain tricks.
Yeah, but at the same, when you watch the playoffs for the last couple of years, and obviously, as I say, Vancouver fanatic, I watched it very closely. When he got into the playoffs, he fell apart. Like the Chicago series with Bufflin, just being in his fucked him right up. Like against Chicago, he fell apart during that series. Last year with LA, it was anytime anybody gets in his way, gets in his crease, his game's off. And it's always in the high pressure is when he kind of falters. When he played for Team Canada, and it's the thing that I always despise whenever I hear Canucks fans talking about how great he is, oh, well, he won the gold. It's like, really? Go back and watch those games. When he's in net, he's not that amazing. Like, the goals they got are weak. but
The
he has
team in front of him.
He had a fantastic team in front of him, and that was the same thing for Vancouver last year. I think they would have done a lot better, and even the year before. But as the season goes on, like who did we lose? Like last year, we lost all of our defensemen in the final series for the playoffs. We had nothing.
That's right.
We had depleted D.
Yep.
So you lose Bieksa. You lost that. Kessler was playing with a broken shoulder, and is still out. Like he's still out now. He's not going to be playing like the first month of the season. So it's like, you're down. Burroughs was playing with a fucked up knee, all that stuff.
Who did you get for Hodgson again?
Zach Cashin and Garrison
Well, they're hoping that
yeah.
Cassian's going to be that guy.
for the Sedins.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
he is a hothead.
Yeah.
Like he is. They have to tame him a bit.
But he's a hothead that can put the puck in the net.
yeah,
Right.
They say that to a point because they made this big deal about it. It was like the same with when they picked up Mancari, right? Mancari was supposed to be this guy that could do it, but he just fizzled. And that was the same thing with Buffalo. Cassian played for Buffalo like 3 games, and then he was with the Americans for the rest of his season. And then just before trade deadline, they brought him up again to make him more of a piece, right? And Garrison, he's more of a solid D, and that's what they kind of want.
They need like
He's
a
good,
Wendell
that
Clark
Garrison.
type of player,
Yeah,
right?
a Domi.
Right. Well, no, Domi. I mean, Domi will fight anybody.
Yeah.
Because the guy's a tire, right? Like,
Right.
The guy will throw mitts with anybody. But what they need is a player that can score goals.
Yep.
And will stick up for his teammates.
Yeah.
Right. Who is the player that plays with Dallas? There was a lot of trade speculation.
Steve
last
Ott?
year. No, it's not Ott. It's
he went
who's their
to,
captain? Who's their captain there?
Oh,
Morrow.
Letnin?
Yeah, Morrow.
Morrow, yeah, yeah.
Brendan Morrow.
Yeah.
I think exemplifies that type of player.
Yep.
Right, that it can do it all. The Gordie Howe hat trick. I mean,
Yep.
that's his wheelhouse. But I digress because talking about this whole Luongo thing,
Yep.
I think the contract would have been a little bit more palatable before they put these penalties in, which is the Brian Burke clause in this CBA, because what they wanted to do was to tackle these backdiving contracts, which is exactly like Roberto Luongo has.
Yeah.
So now it speculates that, or the specifics rather, suggest that you're on a 10-year, he has 10 years left on a 12-year deal
Yeah.
at an average cap hit of 5.13 or whatever it is.
Yep.
But it's because those last couple of years that are tacked on are like 1 million, 1.5, whatever the
Exactly.
case may be. So now they're suggesting that if you don't play out your full contract, and let's say there's 4 years left, and the average cap savings on those years works out to $5 million or $6 million, if a player retires, they're going to be on the hook for that cap savings dollar amount until the end of the contract,
Okay. Yeah.
which suggests that there's a risk there, and it's actually twofold. I think it's for the team trading him potentially, and the team that's receiving him, depending on the dollar, because now you can trade dollars, right?
Right. Right.
So crazy, man. But that said, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Lou in blue and white. I mean, it would be an upgrade from where we are. I know Reimer, Burke always touted him as the real deal, but I think Burke's fundamental flaw is that he would stand behind players even when the ship was going down.
Well, look at Ron Wilson, right?
Yeah.
Stood behind him, gave him that contract, and then done.
Right.
And then actually not only done, but then basically insults him as he went in the press conference. It was too. We couldn't subject our fans to another home game of his coaching. And now they've got a great coach. They've got Randy Carlisle. But again, it's the funnier part for me is the fact that I watched the team that he's built, right? And what has he built? But the Canucks. He's built the Canucks again, right? Like from that, he's got a fantastic team down in the minors, down in the A, with the Marlies, and he's got some good, solid players
First
up.
place.
Yeah, he's got
First
some
place in the conference.
Yeah, again, they had a fantastic year last year as well.
Final.
But he's got a great couple players up top to kind of steer the ship to bring the youth in, and he's going to and that's what's going to happen. He's going to merge these young guys who've been busting their ass down on the Marley, proving themselves. You're going to see a depleted team of big names that you would see somebody like Kadri getting his chance. You'd see all these guys come up and become a team, and everybody's going to be like, I don't know about this. We don't have any big stars, but these guys will play and put their ass on the line every night to make sure they're there.
The irony, though, is that Dave Nonis is a more patient type of operator.
Yeah, but Nonis is that's the thing. Nonis is the contract guy. That's
Yeah.
what people don't realize is Burke runs the ship,
Yeah.
but Nonis is the guy that goes into the rooms and says, with your agent, and says, you're asking $4 million. Like, that's why Anson Carter had the best year of his life playing with the Twins, and then demanded millions of dollars figuring he deserved it, and it was Nonis that said, "You're not fucking worth it. Get out."
Yeah, and
Like,
sure enough.
and they just walked, and now he's
he
playing in the
went to-
KHL.
Yeah.
Like nobody hired him.
Yeah.
Nobody touched him.
Burke is the Pope, and
Yep.
Nonis is the altar boy. He's quiet, but he's he knows how to do the business.
Yeah, and he does have the thing, but he's just never really given that opportunity to really do it.
All right, well, it's special sports edition of the London Indie Underground.
Yep.
How
yeah,
about them Raptors?
So
Woo, go Jays!
we'll get to another song here. We'll come back with a little bit more discussion. Just to let you know, too, top of the hour at 9 o'clock, we're going to be featuring a special performance by Mr. Moss Beckman of Surrounded by Water. He's going to be doing a couple of acoustic numbers for us. We've got him set up here in the other room. Looking forward to getting to that. We were listening in on the
Sound check there?
sound check a little while ago, getting it all checked up. Sounded awesome. So I hope you enjoy that. But that said, let's get to another song. So this is a band called Messes and Miracles with The House Ablaze on the London Indie Underground. Messes and Miracles with this House Ablaze on the London Indie Underground. My name is Jimmy James.
Jimmy.
The man with the face for radio, broadcasting you live from the Vault recording studio at Adelaide and Princess in London, Ontario. If this is your first time tuning in, I'm not sure how many of you are tuning in because I understand that Rogers is having a widespread outage right now, but London Indie Underground is London's only independent music podcast showcasing some of Aria's most talented artists, bands, and personalities. Joined as always by my co-host Gary Begner, and today our guests, Bubs Kendall and Mr. Moss Beckman from Surrounded by Water. Carter's taking a pee break. He'll be back here momentarily. So just before the break, hockey talk.
Lots of it.
Lots of it. So, despite, the lockout and I've been seeing, a lot of people saying, boycott the NHL and let's teach them a lesson and all that stuff. And, and I've got to admit that there was a point where, I was super pissed. I'm like, you know what, I'm done. Just when you're on the outside and you don't understand the specifics, and I don't claim to understand all the economics other than what I read, but that said, I mean, it is our sport. I can't speak for you guys, but when the Leafs are on and it's a Saturday night, I live for that. You know what I mean? There's excitement, and people want to rally around it, and maybe I'm a bit of a glutton for punishment because my team sucks, but it's still our sport, it's our national sport, a lot of excitement around it, and personally, even with an abbreviated season, I'm excited to have hockey back.
Can I cut into that? What you're saying?
Please
that
do.
Your team sucks.
Yeah.
And I like to see it as I root for the underdog. Leafs are an underdog. They're not going to win the cup. So I'm going to root for them. I want them to win the cup.
I'm like that too. Even if it's just two teams you don't even follow, you're watching them. It's like, yeah, they're the underdog. I'm going for them.
Yeah.
That's just how I am too. But
So if they did win the cup, then you wouldn't follow them anymore?
You just drop them?
I go down and I buy myself a New Jersey.
yeah, they're the underdog to win it again the next year. So go for them again.
No, fuck that. I'd rather spend money on beer, but I love the Leafs.
At least
But
you're honest.
that's funny. All my teams were all the underdogs. It's just really weird right now because all of my teams are like the kings of the leagues. Like Baltimore for baseball last year, out of nowhere, have never done that in years. This year's Seattle for the NFL. Like I'm just sitting here going like I don't know.
Wow, right on.
Yeah, but I'm sitting here and Vancouver. Like really, when did Vancouver? Since '94, I've been watching that team die. Since I was a kid, like '73, I've been watching that team.
Lots of losing.
And it's been nothing but losing. And it's like I got to enjoy it when they played the Islanders. I think it was '82 when they wore the big V jersey, and then
Yeah,
'94.
Jersey and hockey.
Tiger Williams.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Tiger and Smeal and Sneps and Gradine.
Sneps,
Loved all
yeah.
that stuff. Hanlon, Brodeur, all that stuff was awesome to me. And then '94 with Linden, Ronning, Bure, McLean. Great. But then it just collapses. And this is the first time as a Canucks fan for me that we've had continuous years of going to the Cup, like getting really deep in and it's being exciting. And then with Seattle doing it this year and Baltimore, I'm fucked up because I don't know how to cheer. I don't know how to be happy for my hockey team.
Congrats, man.
I just sit there like I'm the worst guy to watch a game with right now because I'm just sitting there like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? Like I'm freaking out.
What's
inside.
this
What do I do with my
Yeah.
hands?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I'm like going into that stroke position that I'm just like, grr,
Feel like Ricky Bobby.
Yeah, exactly. Like God forbid they win. I'm the guy that's dead.
He's on the couch doing the Arnold.
You're going to riot.
Yeah.
You're going across the country to riot.
I'll be the guy sitting at home with blood streaming out of my nose from my brain exploding, just too much happiness. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. But we all root for the underdogs in our own way.
I certainly do.
Yeah, but yours is a lifelong underdog situation.
It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been a fan of the Maple Leafs as long as I can remember. And the one thing that, a point of pride for me and something that I could always hang my hat on up until before the last lockout is that the Leafs were always competitive. They were always one of the top teams in the conference, and they always had a shot.
Yep.
And then John Ferguson years happened, and, we know how that story ends.
Yep.
And then when Berkey came in, I was pretty excited. I remember his first press conference, he was gruff and he's like, we're gonna have truculence, we're gonna have balls, we're gonna have pugnacity and whatever else. And I'm like, holy shit, this guy means business. He laid out his philosophy, and then it just didn't line up with what we were seeing on the ice, and it was frustrating. It's really frustrating to be a Leafs fan, and not just because the team's not very good, but because of all the bullshit that we put up with from everybody who chirps us about being a Leafs fan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So it is what it is. man.
Berkey sucked you in.
Well, I was already way sucked in before then, but
Yeah.
he certainly I I want to say I fell for it,
He came
but
to
I believe
Toronto with the big picture of, creating this big bonanza. Like, I don't know. He was just all showing lights, most of the time.
smoking.
The
beers.
fact that-
But as a-
smoke,
yeah.
smoke and drugs and stuff.
But
well, then I would have really liked the team.
yeah.
Ayo.
You know what I'm trying to say, though?
I do.
Yeah.
I know exactly.
By
what you're saying.
taking all the media on him, that's just his way of bringing the spotlight to him and just making him more media.
Maybe that was their plan. Like,
But that is
like you were
that is the
saying
plan. It takes the
earlier.
pressure off the guys on the team.
You know?
Wow.
1980.
You need a team first, right?
But 1980 Team USA, right? The Olympics versus all the first time that you had all the 18-year-old kids on Team USA playing all the big professionals
Was
from
that
Europe.
The Miracle on
Yeah,
Ice?
the miracle. But Brooks didn't let any of the players weren't allowed to talk to the media because he was taking all the heat himself. If they fucked up, it was him that they came after. They couldn't talk to the players because they didn't want the pressure. Even though these guys are professionals, they get paid a lot of money now. It's a diversion to take their mind off of it, right? So
They actually talked about that, like toying with the idea of like closing out the media, and the media helps a lot. Like with
totally
Any-
spin your
yeah.
thoughts on what you're thinking.
but like in a market like Toronto, you got to ask yourself, maybe it will help the team.
Mhm.
Like Phil Kessel, you see him, if you see him in an interview and they ask him, he's like, he's a shy little kid,
Oh, he's very meek, but he's
Yeah.
uncomfortable too.
And
like, he
the
doesn't like to deal
media-
with the media,
they're relentless, like,
especially in Toronto. They'll ask the same question 15
That's
different ways.
yeah, and that's it. It would be one thing if they all asked a different question and they get the answer and they listen. But if I was in that situation like where Berkey's in or a professional player and I heard the same question, I would be the guy that would get caught on like Sportsnet for mouthing off, just saying like, "Fuck, dude, take the shit out of your ears. I've answered the question. Do you want me to answer it a different way? Let's just sit here and ask the same question a different way, and I'll answer it a different
You
way
do
all
the old
fucking night."
You do the old Tim Thomas.
Yeah.
So, did you see that? Like when
Yeah.
obviously
Take the
when
ear off.
he didn't go to the White when he didn't go to the White House.
Yeah.
And so he's standing there and he's in his stall, and the media is just hoarding him.
Yeah.
And they're asking him pretty much the same question over and over.
Yeah.
And they were asking him more about his, what was your political motivation, right? Or what's the key issue here? And he refused to talk about it. He didn't want to talk about it. He said, I reserve the right to attend or to not attend. And it was funny. He walks away from them and he just walks to the other side of the dressing room. You know what I mean? He's just kind of standing there. Like, where are you going to go?
Yeah.
You're right there. They're just going to turn around and walk back to you and say, how about now?
Yeah.
I would have just
You
went
feel
and
any different?
stood behind Chara and was like, okay, now fucking ask me that question.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to get to some more music here. And then when we come back, we do need to switch up the topic a little bit. I got a cool little story to share with you guys and an important event for the London community that's going to be taking place tomorrow. So we'll talk to that right after we listen to a song by a band called the Black Frame Spectacle. This is The Mob Awaits on the London Indie Underground.
With pressure, the serpentine always slither awry. I tell ya, it's suicide every step of the way. Give shelter until the light if you're ready to fly. It sells ya, it kills you now. I've committed no crime. Oh, there's no doubt the bastards sold me out. I can't hear them now at the door. Knives out, the mob awaits. The mob awaits. Those voices behind the time always sample the wise. Whatever, we told the light every step of the way.
the black frame spectacle what the mob awaits here on the London Indie Underground. So this past Saturday, I had the opportunity to take part in the 3rd annual Rock Lottery, and some of our listeners may remember me speaking to this, but essentially what it was is the Rock Lottery. There's 25 musicians in the London area that were invited to participate. 5 drummers, 5 guitar players, 5 bass players, 5 singers, and then a couple of wild card people. And so they put our names in a hat and they drew these bands, and we had the day to write 5 songs to be performed that night at Call the Office. And it was a $5 door with all the proceeds going to the Forest City Gallery. Forest City Gallery is the only independent gallery here in London. It's been 40 years in operation, and they are survived by private sector money. So they rely on donations and events like this. And it's the 3rd annual event, and it was just a jam-packed house. And my particular band, we were called the Hobbit Name Generator. So we were going to pull up a band name generator. And one of the guys, Spencer, said, well, let's call it Hobbit Name Generator. So I'm like, yeah, let's roll with that. So we wrote 5 songs. We went and performed. We opened up the show, and it was a great night. We had a lot of fun. And, it was great to see that much talent come together and put on a show with original songs that were composed during the daytime for such a great cause. But one of the really cool things that came out of that, and one of the performers that was in my group, her name is Lynn. She plays in a band called Lonnie in the Garden. And her brother works for London Fuse. And London Fuse is an e-publication based out of the London market that supports the independent and arts and music scene. Mm-hmm. So they came here into the studio and they did an interview with our group. And the theme of the interview was asking artists and musicians, what are some of the things that London or the powers that be, whether it's city council or private sector investors or whatever the case may be, what are some of the things that they could do to support our London music scene? And it was great because we went kind of down the panel of the band that I was in, the 4 members, and everybody had it was interesting, they had their own take from their own perspective, whether it was, infrastructure in London. The cost of living here is very affordable comparatively to some other markets. And then I had an opportunity to kind of speak my piece, and I kind of felt bad because I felt maybe I kind of hogged some of the microphone time, but this was really passionate. I was really passionate about this, and I really had a lot to say because it really dovetailed onto what we're trying to do here at the London Indie Underground, which is to support the independent music scene. Because let's face it, I mean, there's not a lot of support through commercial radio. FM 96 does what they can, but programming is they've got a there's a lot of loopholes that they do not have access to, if you will, mm-hmm. and they have certain standards that they do need to follow. So with that in mind, I had the opportunity to kind of speak my piece and really added some value to what they were looking for. As a result of this, I'm actually going to be featured in a documentary. And there's tomorrow at the London Music Club tomorrow at 2:00 in the afternoon. Now this is, I want to be clear on something because this is a politically charged type of event. It's a Liberal sponsored. And the Liberals, as we know, are very active when it comes to the arts, which some would argue the Conservatives are not. Stephen Harper under his regime have really taken a lot of money out of the arts. But the Liberals are looking for ways to connect with the arts and music community, which I'm grateful for. You would want to see something like this be a little bit more bipartisan. But having said that, I was honored to ask to be part of this. And so tomorrow, and I believe this is an open invitation, at 2 p.m. Tomorrow at the London Music Club will be a presentation from London Fuse, and it'll be presented to city council members as well as potential MPPs, that sort of thing, where they will be showcasing this documentary and the feedback that was provided to them from some of the musicians and artists that they interviewed in the community, with hopes that there's potential there to help boost our scene a little bit. And some of the key speaking points as far as I was concerned in London, when you look at the venues that we have here in town, there's certainly some great venues and some long-standing venues that have offered some great support, but at the same time, there's a lot of them that have either been torn down or burnt down, or the Wick, just as an example, the Embassy, the Salt Lounge closed down. I mean, the list kind of goes on and on and on. And there's not as many places to play nowadays or to feature your music. And in addition to that, one of the other things I said is they have all these great events that they run downtown during the summertime at Victoria Park and that sort of thing. But it's difficult to get involved in these sort of things. And my last point, which I thought was one of the more important, a lot of musicians don't realize some of the benefits that are available to them. You know, whether it's like factor grants or, you know, grants that are available through the government. And my key speaking point to that was in the Toronto scene, the Toronto Arts Council offers a lot of money to independent musicians and independent artists. There's a lot of money that's left on the table because people don't know how to take advantage of it. And further to that, I have a couple of friends of mine that actually work with bands to make sure that they properly fill out their applications. Because if you don't fill it out properly with the proper credentials, they actually just chuck it out. And you don't get any notification, right? You don't get an opportunity to correct it. It's just denied. And then you've got to resubmit. And there's a lot of deadlines that they're dealing with, right? So it makes it very difficult for not only people to take advantage of it because they don't know about it, but to do it correctly in order to be able to actually take advantage. So those were some of the key points that I spoke to, and I'm hoping that maybe tomorrow I'll have an opportunity to speak to that a little bit more in depth. We'll see, but I was honored to be a part of it. Now, I know that at some point the documentary will be posted online, and I'll make sure that we blast that out to you because I'm, you know, obviously humbled to be asked, but further, I'm interested to see what, you know, some of the London community has to say about it.
That's
Nice
a big fuck yeah, Jimmy.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I was really excited about that.
I was interested in how that night went, dude, because I got to meet them all that morning, and that you guys were a pretty eclectic group.
We really were. Yeah,
It was awesome.
I didn't know what to expect.
Me either.
You know, that morning, and we all rolled in at 8:00, and you know, some of us in various states of hungoverness. Not myself, because I made sure that you know, I governed myself accordingly the night before. Although I did go to bed at like 3 a.m., but still. So yeah, we all roll in and they draw the names, and then we all retire back to our respective rehearsal spaces and you know, see what flies. And you know, it's hard to be critical at that time because, you know, you're up against the clock, right? So you just kind of hammer some stuff out and see how it goes. But the feedback that we got from the night was a lot of people thought that we were the band that sounded most like a band, which I was pretty excited about.
Well, they were all really cool people.
They definitely were.
They looked really cool. Anyways.
They were.
I
They're
didn't
totally
spend
cool.
so much time with them.
So we're going to get to another track here quickly, kind of keeping the theme for this evening's podcast a little bit more mellow, because we are going to have an acoustic performance with Moss Beckman here of Surrounded by Water just after this upcoming track. So I hope you enjoy this. This is a band called the Sun Mines, and this is Price for Freedom on the London Indie Underground. Sun Mines, Price of Freedom, here on the London Indie Underground. So we're going to take an opportunity now to do a bit of a feature here of one of my bands called Surrounded by Water. Sad to say that we've decided that after 11 years of playing together that it's time that we move on and wipe the slate clean. Unfortunately, one of our members decided that not to continue on with us, and he's our brother and our friend, and we love him. But that said, we are going to be performing our final show this coming Friday at Norma Jean's. Surrounded by Water is going to be opening up for our Tool tribute band that features myself as well as the singer here, Moss Beckman, called Undertow. We're really excited to be able to share this night with you, not just from Undertow, but obviously with Surrounded by Water. We will not, however, be our full band. We're not going to be featuring one of our members, but we've had our friend Bubs Kendall sitting in on the podcast here today that's going to be filling in on some of the guitar duties. So you'll have to bear with us because we haven't had much time to rehearse with Bubs here, but we are looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's a $4 cover. Surrounded by Water is going to be on, I would say, approximately 10:15-ish. And then the Tool tribute is going to be doing 2 sets running from about 11:15-ish. We're going to do a couple of 45-minute sets. So that said, Moss is here in the studio with us today. I'm very pleased to be sharing our first of many live performances as part of our indie stream during the week. So this is Moss Beckman from Surrounded by Water.
Unfolded wings, setting slow, and catching early race to thee. Brightest new day, yeah, yeah. Placid skyward. Single feather through, yeah, to each bare root of this outspread you. Hey, sensational, unprecedented, yeah. Feel this altitude uplift you.
Moss Beckman with Free Flight by Surrounded by Water here on the London Indie Underground. So we're going to flip to another acoustic tune here with Moss in just a few moments. I just want to take an opportunity to spin another one of the artists that's contributed to the London Indie Underground, a gentleman by the name of Jamie Kuntz, who is a great guy. Came down to the studio actually to give us a disc, to meet us in person. We've encouraged our any of the artists that we featured here on the podcast to come in and connect with us, put a name to the face. We do really appreciate that. If you'd like to drop off a disc to us, you'd like your music featured, please get into contact with us. Be happy to support you. And further, if you'd like to check out any of our back catalog of podcasts, you can certainly do that. You can visit our YouTube page, www.youtube.com/London Indie UG. We have 13 weeks up there. We're going to be posting the last couple here shortly, as well as today's podcasts, if you'd like to review it later on. So we'll get to this other song, and then we'll come back with another track from Moss Beckman from Surrounded by Water. So this is Jamie Kuntz with Let Me Take You Out Tonight on the London Indie Underground.
I've got an old car and it's clean on the inside, and I don't think that he has as nice of a ride. And he's not like me, I see no anguish in his eyes, and I don't think that he is the right man for you. So if you think you can make it, and I hope you might, let me take you out tonight. Well, you're down south and I'm up north, and I've never seen your face before, but you're the prettiest girl I've ever known. And I don't think that you should be alone. So if you think you can make it, and I hope you might, let me take you out tonight. There's a dark gray sky in the air tonight. It looks gray with the moon, but looks perfect in your eyes. If I never tried so hard, I'd never try, because the sky looks perfect in your eyes tonight. So if you think you can make it, and I hope you might, let me take you out tonight. Let me take you out tonight. Let me take you out tonight. Let me take you out tonight.
Jamie Kuntz on the London Indie Underground. Really happy to feature all the artists that have sent us in music. We want to thank everybody for continuing to do so. Obviously, we're appreciative of it because really we're nothing without you. We do want to showcase music from the London and surrounding area, so please continue to send it in to us. If you happen to be a musician listening to today's podcast and you'd like to get at us with some music, you can send us an email at londonindieug@hotmail.com. and we're more than happy to spin it for you. So we need to take a moment here to thank our sponsors, because we're actually going to be wrapping up our podcast a bit early. Normally we would only go until 9 o'clock today, obviously with some technical difficulties. I understand Rogers is still down as a widespread outage. So,
Like a plague.
yeah, that's so bizarre, man. I mean, that doesn't happen very often, right? So I'm grateful for iPhone today.
Yeah.
But that said, I want to take an opportunity to thank some of our sponsors. First and foremost, I need to thank my good friends at the Submission Academy, Steve and Jane Poulin. They run the Submission Academy, which is located at Dundas and Egerton. They just celebrated their 2-year anniversary of being in that location, and their school is blown up. I believe they signed their 60th student. They've got a great kids program, and that the parents speak very highly of. And I got to tell you, they're two of the more committed people that I know when it comes to honing their craft. I mean, these two have to go to Las Vegas a couple of times a year for belt grading and for training with their affiliate, Robert Drysdale, Jiu-Jitsu down in Vegas. And he trains a lot of the UFC fighters, the likes of Forrest Griffin, Vitor Belfort, among others who choose to roll with him because he's one of the more experienced grapplers, very decorated. And so Steve and Jane have really kind of embraced that philosophy and really built an exceptional school. And I couldn't be more proud of them. But they're two of the nicest people I know, and two of the people that I know that if I need anything, they'd certainly come to my aid right away. And I'm more than happy to support them in any way I can. So if you happen to be interested in learning a martial art and technique, Jiu-Jitsu is known as the gentle art. It was actually created to help a smaller man have an advantage in the event of an altercation. And I know most people think about Jiu-Jitsu and associate it with combat sports with the like of UFC and whatnot. But truth is, it's actually an accredited and great way to not only to get into shape, but to build some confidence through hard work. And they will certainly work with you to tailor a program. I do believe that they offer a free trial period where you can come out and check it out. And I got to tell you, Steve is one of the funniest dudes I know, and I've sat in on his class. I've actually attended a few myself, and it was a lot of fun. It's hard work, but when you're working hard and you're doing something that you enjoy doing, and in an environment that's fun, open, where everybody is treated equally, regardless of your skill set level, it's really an enjoyable experience. So I would encourage you to check them out in the event that you are interested in learning Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh, yeah.
Also need to thank my buddy Scotty Finlayson, a.k.a. Scotty Fairmont, at fullcolorcards.ca. Scotty's been in this business for a long time. He used to work at Advanced Image Works in Masonville Mall. He branched out on to do his own thing. And he's been making some business cards for many people in this area. Did some up for our studio, which turned out great. And he's just a great dude with some great prices and great consultation. So, if you happen to be looking for some cards, get at this guy. He'll certainly hook you up in style. Last but not least, Gary, I do need to thank you as always.
Meh.
For sure, for brains.
For sure.
Custom screen printing. If you can think it, they can ink it. Gary, I've known you for a long time. One of the things I've known about you, 3 things. Number 1, you collect a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Number 2, you play hockey. And number
That's
3,
true.
you screen print like a motherfucker.
True.
So those of you that don't know, Gary actually set up shop in his garage, started doing this, I think, as a bit of a lark when I first knew you, and it's blown into to now basically your career, what you're doing. I see your posts, and I know that you're busy in your shop, and I think word of mouth has been really where a lot of your business has been coming from, not necessarily just from here, but through some of the other clients that you've been dealing with. But certainly your product is great. I couldn't be more appreciative of you taking the time to do some shirts up for us.
No
And those of you that happen to be looking for some band merch, or something for your, even if it's a custom t-shirt that you want done up for yourself or whatever. I know sometimes people have some funny sayings or whatever, and they say, hey, that'd be a great t-shirt. This is the guy that you want to go see, and, obviously listening to the guy, he's really cool, so.
Yeah. And we're expanding, I'm doing more. I'm getting more different gear in. I'm actually, probably by the end of the week, I'll have my first embroidery machine in. So we'll be doing hats and stuff like that. Punk rock swag, and we just got the plotter for doing the one-offs and stuff like that to bring down the cost on that as well. So
Well, good for you, Gary.
yeah,
It's always great to see when, people kind of venture into their own business when they're thriving, right? And
Well, that and I'm an idiot when it comes to money. I spend like a motherfucker. So
Well, I know that,
yeah,
but I wasn't going there. But no, but it's true. I mean, you had a skate sharpener.
yeah, still do.
You still? I thought you sold it.
I did, but I've got another one. I had two. That's the stupid part of the story.
So it's hilarious. So I used to play hockey with Gary and his group every Thursday night, and Gary was offering, for a dirt cheap amount of money that, he would take your skates and he'd bring them home and he'd sharpen them all, and then he'd bring them back next week.
Yep.
And I'm like, who has that kind of time?
Turns out Gary does.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you have to remember, I'm like the way we were discussing this earlier with Carlos over there. That
Carlos
I am
Spicy
like,
Wiener.
yeah, I am like the small squirrel in the tree. My brain is always on the fucking go, and I can't sit still. So I'm up all late at night. That's the nice thing about working from home. Some people look at the shop being out of the house as a negative thing sometimes, like, oh, you don't have a shop. But to me, it's like the smartest thing you can do because I don't have overhead. I don't have all the extra shit, so I can pass on the savings. But at the same time, if I've got a rush order, I don't have to drive across the city to go to my shop to go through all that crap. I just basically hop out and do the work, and I can stay up as late as I want, or I can sleep and then get up at 3 in the morning and go out in the shop and work and do whatever. But that's what I was like with screen printing. It just got to like with skate sharpening and everything. I like to know how things work, and I like to be able to control it all. So it's like I'm like that with my music equipment. I'm like that with everything. It's what I get into. But anyways, I'm glad to help promote this, the London Indie Underground. It's a lot of fun. I think it's an important cause. And the more people who get behind it, the more it's going to grow the scene, not just for London, but for southern Western Ontario. And that's kind of I think it's an important thing.
You're a good man, G. You're a good
Word.
man. Thank you.
Fattest skinny guy on radio.
The fat skinny guy. So next week, a couple announcements for you. Today we were actually supposed to be joined by Mr. Bill Durst.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, Bill wasn't able to attend today's podcast. However, I did get confirmation that they do want to reschedule, and it looks like it's possibly going to be the week after next. However, next week we are going to be joined by Mr. Gord Pryor. Gord is a well-renowned producer from this area that's worked with the likes of Helix, as well as many others, and is an artist in his own right. As a matter of fact, he auditioned for Velvet Revolver when they were looking for a singer, and ended up ultimately settling on Scott Weiland. So he's going to be joining us next week. I'm sure he's going to have some great stories for us, and he's really excited to be here. He's got a pretty substantial catalog of music that he's going to be bringing with him. And then the following week, I'm pleased to announce that the Diaddicts are going to be joining us again. However, this time they're going to be here for a live performance in the Vault Recording Studio as part of the weekly indie stream. Woo. So we're going to be posting up some info about that, and then we're looking to book Bill Durst back. Bill, if you happen to be listening, and Darren Morrison, I know you probably are too. It's a shame we couldn't get you in today, but I understand that you guys had to reschedule. Having said that, they certainly will be here, and we're very thrilled about that. So we're going to wrap up this podcast today. I want to thank my guests for coming in, Bubba. I want to thank you for contributing your thoughts. And Mr. Carlos Spicy Wiener, a.k.a. Carter's Inn.
Yeah.
Always great. You guys are more than welcome. Bubba, you're working right next door now, so I'm sure that you're going to be sitting in on a couple of podcasts to come. So I just did a bit of a test here. We are broadcasting through an iPhone, and I did a test. I flipped over to the camera view, and I didn't drop any frames, and it looks like we're going to be able to do this. So I'm actually going to end today's podcast with another song from Mr. Moss Beckman. I'm going to switch over here to the camera view. Bam, Mr. Midview. So Moss has got another track for us once again. Surrounded by Water is going to be playing our final show, Surrounded by Water. However, we're going to be continuing on in some kind of new permutation or whatever the case may be. But our last show is going to be Friday, January the 11th at Norma Jean's, opening up for the Tool tribute Undertow. So please join us. We would be flattered if you did. So Moss is going to do another selection for you here. And let me cue him up. So thanks for listening, folks. Catch us back next week, same time, 7 p.m. Hopefully we don't have any technical difficulties and we can get this thing going on time. But thanks for joining us this evening. We really appreciate it as always. Once again, my name is Jimmy James. We're broadcasting from the Vault Recording Studio, Adelaide and Princess, London, Ontario. Thanks for listening to the London Indie Underground.
try to fit in with the unwary. Isn't that you came and fed through, assuring your belief, pacify your morality. Liberate from the ordinary, mere mortality is just not same. How does it feel to be safe, to pervade in your own name? You try to fit in with the unwary, acclimate to freedom from me. Emptiness in you, it needed reverential love. There's something about to and be delivered until liberate from the ordinary, mere mortality. It's just all the same. Are you safe from the sins we made? Reserve yourself from a world divine. So delusion, undefiled. No, rest assured, you'll be released. A delusional, but on your knees, on your knees. This cavity, I need it filled. Was it justified with holy pill? Will you close your eyes when you take his thing? At least smile, the joy it brings. Take his thing. Joy it brings. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Call me that day. I forget where I was that day. It might have been downstairs. I'm not sure. I know you were playing poker though. I remember perfectly. Are you safe? Are you safe? Are you safe? Are you safe? Liberate from the ordinary. Mortality is just not the same, is it? Are you safe from the sins we made? The sins we've made. Oh, those sins we made. I see you standing there, every